Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So in today's video, we're going to go over AS Levia as a 5-star, and I'll do a little bit of gameplay and let you know what I think about her. But the most important question of all is
she hot or not?
Well, I may be a star boy, but I'm not really into star children. Anyways, Levia AS is a definite improvement over the normal style Levia. She definitely has a few extra moves and some interesting capabilities as well. Her VC is quite good, restore all main and reserve party members HP XL, and inflict poison on user. Now you may think that that is a detriment, putting herself in poison status. However, it works in conjunction with some of her moves as well. Note that when she is poisoned, at the end of every turn, all frontline party members do restore 30 MP. Slight benefit, I wouldn't say is significant depending on what you're doing. Now in terms of her moves here, the third move here, Ice Pack, you can stack water resist debuff, 25% stackable for 3 times up to 50%. Not bad if you don't have any other water resist debuff and you're using her in a pure water team. She also does have a mild 20% int down move. She has a couple of other moves here as her 4-star status. Note that they did improve this over the normal style Levia back in the day. She has her self boost int 20%. And finally, she does have a regen all members small for 3 times. Now, surprisingly, even though you see the tender current kind of useless in a way, it's only 3 times or 3 turns small, you'll find that that actually also can work well with her moves depending on her use. So her main AS spamming move is the Levia Buster, Water AoE times 2 XL, inflicts poisons on all enemies and party members, and this is permanent unless removed by cures or other things. Magic crit rate of all party members, 100% for 1 move. And obviously when she is poisoned, she increases number of attacks and damage, and obviously during AF increases, I guess combo meter. So not terrible. I wouldn't say her damage is through the roof, but I would consider her more of a support, especially in Magic teams where you do need a crit setter. Now, obviously, if you have AS Chio, where everything's kind of guaranteed crit with her Horai Jewel, you might not need this as much, but this does replace some teams using Meryl as a crit setter in terms of her 100% crit move. So, not too bad. And to be fair, now you can make an all Magic team for water. So, Sea Dragon's Blessing is her other move. Again, restore all party members large, type resistance up 30, water type attacks up 30. Again, very good support for water teams and status immunity 1 time. Note that if she has poisoned herself, increased magic damage based on max MP of the user for 3 turns. So that will be for the entire party, and essentially it's the same as Mental Focus, which is given by other types of Magic Zone setters such as AS Rosetta, AS Chio. I think even Melody might have that as well. So you can see her board here, and we'll just scroll up. And of course, she does only have Dragon Palace and Staff. Since you probably already have Levia, note that when you do max out Levia, you do give AS a slight stat boost as well. Now, in terms of Grasta, normally we use Pain, Pain, Pain. However, she does inflict poison, and so we use 3 poisons, and obviously we also do use her true VC Grasta to help enhance her stats. So, let's take her out for a spin. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So keep in mind that at this example, I did cast Sea Dragon's Blessing first. It does give you a status immunity. However, the correct way is actually to cast Levia Buster first. The reason why is that you need her to be poisoned in order to use the Sea Dragon's Blessing and obviously increase her mental focus to max MP damage there. So against horrors, for example, you can stack the Ice Pack or at least cast 1 of those, then cast Levia Buster so you self poison, and then you can cast the Sea Dragon's Blessing. Now she has that mental focus. You can kind of see that meditation icon there. And keep in mind that now that she's poisoned, not only does she have mental focus, it does additional attacks as well with the spam attack, and obviously during AF you'll have more combo meter increase. So she's all right in that sense. Now, one other thing is, don't forget that when she VCs in, she heals everyone and poisons herself, so she doesn't have to do the setup nearly as much. Again, she'll have that 30 MP recovery, and then she'll cast the Levia Buster after casting Sea Dragon's Blessing. Of course, now she's mental focused here. Keep in mind that because she's self-damaging herself and keeping herself in the state of poison, I do always wonder whether or not that's a good strategy. Now, I know that a lot of people use the palm strategy back in the day. You can use grass to ores basically to enhance your poison damage when you're poisoned. Enhance your damage when you're poisoned by 50%. And I'll show you that grass to setup. I only put it on 1 or 2 units to just kind of demonstrate what the different or what kind of capabilities you have when doing so. But in general, I'm going to honestly say I don't really like that strategy where you self-poison, enhance your damage by 50% among other statuses, and kind of hope for the best. Because at the end of the day, we want to protect our team. We don't want to really hurt it. I know there are some self-damage moves as well. It's just kind of, in my opinion, a little bit counterproductive. That being said, keep in mind also, when you cast Sea Dragon's Blessing, it does give a status immunity 1 time. So you really want to cast her attack move first, poison your team as well as the enemies, and then you really take advantage of that situation where you're enhancing everyone's damage, especially with certain Grasta setups. Alright, so there we go. And one other thing to note is not guaranteed poison, okay? But it is permanent. So if you watch the video closely and on replay, you can actually cast the spam move a couple of times, and sometimes it won't take hold on the enemy. So be aware of that. Not 100% guaranteed. However, note that because AS Shigiri and the rest of the team had it, AS Shigiri after AF, 1 hit 100 million after HP Stopper. Obviously, there's a lot of buffs and other things at play. Don't forget that 30% water type up with Levia, although keep in mind that other units are also buffing themselves, and so you do have some diminishing returns in that sense. I'll just show the loadout here. So I find that even on a dedicated water team, I don't think her output damage-wise is extreme. Keep in mind that also a lot of zone type teams, they rely on that end of turn zone boost by their zone setter, and water doesn't really have too much of that. I know that Shigiri does have that kind of boost at the end of turn depending on the number of moves done the previous turn, and obviously we did do a large AF on turn 2 so that on turn 3 he had the boost for his whole team. And that there being said, Xion was the Grasta holder. Miero is the Grasta holder for Levia. Alright, in our second example, we're going to take on one of the older bosses here and just kind of show you what we're trying to enhance here. Again, in my experimentation, I didn't find that Levia AS really puts out the damage. It's really for her to kind of set up with that kind of self-poison damage, and then when you enhance those Grasta with those increased damage when poisoned by 50%, note that you can only use one of those ores. You got that large 50% boost on top of the other Grastas you have in place, and so that's where she really shines. Helps really set it up, and instead of being Palm, where Palm is a 4-star and very, very vulnerable in the front line, she still has respectable stats at level 80. She can still do some damage, and she still has a heal and some other support things. So in that sense, a great improvement over the Palm strat, but not really sure whether or not she has a huge place in some boss fights, especially since a lot of the stronger bosses will be continually attacking you, and you're going to be taking a few hundred HP damage when poisoned each turn unless removed. And if you remove it, you don't have all those benefits either on Levia AS herself, where she kind of has that mental focus or does more damage, or in the case of other units where you have that poison enhanced ore. Alright, so in this example, note that we didn't apply too many debuffs on the enemy, and even without that, Myra's AS was able to clear Melosia's third stage quite easily with the enhanced ore. Now, normally, for example, we would have to apply multiple stacks of type resist debuff, we would have to apply pain status, and other things. And in conjunction with us boosting earth damage with Terra Lumiere and Myra's AS having a very low MP, that extra poison enhanced 50% and the bullseye outside AF, that's a lot of damage increase. And so I will say that in certain instances where you can't do nearly enough damages and the enemy, you can act before the enemy, this is still a viable strategy. Mariel again is our Grasta holder, no problems there. And I just had Shio in the back as our dual zone setter, just in case we needed her. But in this case, she didn't do anything. We really just relied on the AS Levia poison strat, so to speak. Rosetta also has Grasta holding for AS Clark. Now, in this final example, I'll show you the disadvantages of poisoning yourself. And if you fought the twins, you know what I'm talking about. Remember that in each phase of the twins, and they do have a couple of HP stoppers, it will drain you to essentially 1% of your life, and obviously, you know what's going to happen next. That being said, we are going to go through with the entire strategy, so poison everybody, and see where we're at, do a large turn 2 AF, obviously set up all our buffs and debuffs, and see what kind of damage we can put out. Okay, and obviously with the Levia Buster, we are doing a fair bit of damage. Obviously, notice that her combo rate on Magic Team is actually very, very useful. Very, very good combo rate enhancer, which actually increases your AF damage quite significantly. If you have AS Mighty, you'll know what we're talking about. See, most Magic teams can't get to 400% combo meter, so that is a really great advantage of her, especially if you need something like that to push Magic combo rates over the top during the AF, and that will work really well if you're able to do damage before the enemy acts. Now do you see what's the problem, right? If you get drained down to 1% HP, well, if you don't have hold ground badges or anything like that, everyone's dead, and then yeah. And don't forget, poison is persistent and permanent unless removed, and we really want to leave that on, so you run a huge risk of dying each and every turn, especially when you're left at 1 HP or 1% HP. And even with the likes of AS Chio coming back to establish Magic Zone, we really can't beat the twins in this particular setup. Now, if you wait just a little bit longer and continue watching through the video, I did find a workaround. And so this would be an interesting alternate way of handling some situations like this. All right. And of course, you know what's coming here? One shot. Except we're not the ones one-shotting. We are being one-shotted. And we're going to lose this battle, unfortunately. Boom. Ugh. Okay. Alright, it's time for our Magic team to get our revenge. Now, keep in mind, we have the same Grasta setup that we had in the previous couple of examples. However, we're going to do things a little bit differently this time and hopefully be successful. So same thing, we're going to basically power up our Earth DPS, which is AS Clark, AS Myris. We have AS Myris at low MP. We do have AS Clark casting eventually Terra Lumiere multiple times and then getting his Lunatic on. We are also getting everyone poisoned, and we have turn 2 AF using Daze Array, which applies 50% type resist debuff. Now you may be asking, how the heck are we going to be surviving this? We're going to die just like last time, right? Note that we cast Tender Current, which is one of AS Levia's moves. And then we continue attacking. Make sure all our poison is there. Remember that the enemy isn't guaranteed to be poisoned, so it does take a couple of tries, and with some RNG luck, it will definitely get there. We did have Pain and Poison all applied there. Pain is obviously from Enhanced Pain Grasta on AS Rosetta. She is mainly support in this team. The 2 DPS are essentially our 2 Earth DPS. So we've got brought down to 1% HP, and Tender Current helps small regen every turn for 3 turns, which allows us to literally survive by the skin of our teeth. We only have like 14-15 MP, certainly less than 100. However, we did survive our own poison status because we wanted to hurt ourselves, and since that is the case, we can now continue on with our strategy of having self-poisoned and doing extreme amounts of damage. Also, keep in mind, note that later on when I do show you the Grasta setup, not everyone has self-pain and poison, like those poison enhanced ore. Only AS Myris does, because during Lunatic with Mind's Eye, AS Clark can do enough damage on his own. I really just wanted to demonstrate what kind of strategies we can kind of do as a basic thing to give you some ideas of how to play around with AS Levia and hopefully come up with even cooler strats than what I have just demonstrated as more of a basic overview or for capabilities. Okay, and then we finished it off. So it's an interesting way of playing, certainly. So, in conclusion, AS Levia is a definitely improvement over a 4-star Palm Strat. She does unlock some unique abilities, very good support for Magic Zone teams, certainly. Not so much for water teams. However, don't forget, you can technically fit her into any team where you need to poison your whole team, switch her out, and do immense amount of damage with the right setups. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.